Lots of people like drinking. Alcohol's depression of our central nervous system leads to feelings of relaxation. Its release of dopamine in the brain makes us feel happier. It reduces our inhibition, which helps us to interact more and exchange deeper feelings with our friends and family. And even at low blood alcohol levels, it provides mild feelings of euphoria. It's no wonder about half of the adults in the United States enjoy drinking. But what health implications come with consuming alcohol and enjoying those fun, happy feelings it gives us? It turns out light to moderate drinking can actually be pretty beneficial in reducing the risk of a bunch of diseases and improving your long-term overall health, which was news to me because I've always felt pretty guilty if I have even just a drink or two because I thought that I was just poisoning my body. But multiple studies have shown that moderate consumption of alcohol can actually reduce the risk of heart disease and stroke, Alzheimer's and dementia, arthritis, diabetes, and even certain types of cancers. The key is drinking in moderation. Drinking too much alcohol will actually increase the risk of all of those same diseases. Now, before I get into the detailed benefits of moderate alcohol consumption, I really want to emphasize that you should only ever drink safely and responsibly. That means you should not drink if you're planning to drive. You should not drink if you're pregnant or think that you might become pregnant. You shouldn't drink if you're under the age of 21. And if you take prescription or over-the-counter medications, you should make sure that alcohol doesn't have any dangerous interactions with those drugs. And even though the facts and figures I'll be talking about today do come from a qualified doctor and toxicologist, I'm not qualified to give medical advice and I'm not a doctor. Okay, back to the fun stuff. So moderate drinking has been shown to have all kinds of health benefits, but moderate drinking is slightly different for everybody depending on factors like age, sex, and weight. But generally speaking, moderate drinking is considered no more than 2 drinks per day for men who are under the age of 65, or 1 drink per day for women of any age or men 65 and older. The National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism defines a standard drink as 14 grams of pure alcohol, which is roughly the amount in a 12-ounce beer, 5 ounces of wine, or 1.5 ounces of 80 proof spirits like vodka or whiskey. So one of the big improvements of moderate alcohol consumption is a better overall mortality rate. The American Cancer Society did a study with about 250 million men over a 12-year period, and they concluded that those who were heavy drinkers, drinking about 5 to 6 drinks per day, were about 20 to 40% more likely to die from any cause compared to non-drinkers. But moderate drinkers actually had a lower rate of mortality, reducing their chance of dying by about 16% by having just 1 drink a day. So drinking just a little bit, just 1 or 2 drinks per day, can actually reduce a person's likelihood of dying. But that all goes away when a person starts to pass that moderate consumption level. And at higher consumption rates, people actually start to die more often. This U-shaped curve isn't just overall mortality. The same thing can be seen in the relationship between alcohol and many individual diseases as well. Another study involving 8,000 men and women over the age of 55 investigated the relationship between alcohol and the risk for dementia. After checking in on the patients every few years to see how their health was progressing, it was concluded that moderate alcohol consumption, whether it was beer, wine, or even hard liquor, was associated with a lower risk of any form of dementia. And when it comes to type 2 diabetes, that's the more common one that typically affects adults, there were 15 studies all across the world with 370,000 participants that concluded that heavy drinkers were slightly more likely to develop type 2 diabetes compared to non-drinkers. But just light drinking, that's about a half a drink or so per day, reduced the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 13%. And moderate drinkers reduced their risk by a whopping 30%. And the lowest risk was among those who drank several times per week rather than just occasionally. And it's important that moderate drinkers spread out their drinking like that rather than trying to just do it all on the weekend. One study in 2008 showed that men who drank 5 drinks at a time were 30% more likely to die from heart disease, 50% more likely to develop cancer, and 40% more likely to die for any reason compared to those who just drank 1 drink at a time. Now, that's a lot of information, and there are a bunch of studies like this, but they all have pretty much the same conclusion, which is that drinking 1 or 2 drinks a day can have lots of health benefits by reducing the risk of all kinds of diseases and even increasing the likelihood that you'll live longer. But moderation is so important. Not only do all of these benefits disappear with heavy drinking, but heavy drinking can actually increase the likelihood of developing diseases or increase the likelihood of dying earlier, even if you don't do it that often. But if you do it safely and responsibly, you shouldn't feel guilty about having a drink or 2 every now and then or even every day. Like a lot of things in life, moderation is key when enjoying alcohol. So feel free to have a glass of what Ben Franklin called proof that God loves us and loves to see us happy. All of the information, studies, and claims in this video come from Dr. Amitabha Dasgupta, an award-winning professor and toxicologist. I read his book, The Science of Drinking, and what you saw in this video are the key points that stuck with me. If you want to read it, I've got a link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and drink safely.